how you doing? What a beautiful day. Beautimous morning. Cameras cannot do it. We are less angry these days now that things are starting to kind of set aside for a while. Willing to set aside American democracy in favor of a dictatorship of their king or their dictator, their leader. Their cult leader. However, when that person is gone, there'll be another, and another, and another. I am amazed when my live stream works how crystal clear it is. Let me put it over on navigation so that I can see the traffic ahead of me. This is the day that I take the long way, Monday and Tuesday. I kind of run in a circuit. I'm sort of like a cat in that way. Cats are known for, they have a routine they have to follow, and if they don't follow that routine, they get really bent out of shape. So they will, you know, it's almost like clockwork. You can follow them, what they do. You know, cats have to check little pieces and parts of their empire every day. It's why if there's an interloper, another cat comes into their area, their territory, they get really irate. You know, because that's not supposed to be there. What are they going to take over my kingdom? No. I don't have a kingdom, but I like to see different parts of the city, and I kind of have a lot of things on this this controller, but I can't see that. Down, turn my phone sideways, I can see how many people are watching. I'm trying to type, hey, how you doing? And I always, hey, how you slowing. And what was the other one? How you it was funny. Pardon me, I'm yawning because it's my nighttime. Yesterday was the bidet, and it was a good bidet, despite the crisis we had yesterday. It's the same crisis we've been having for a couple of weeks. pretty sky. It's a pretty sky, but it's not the prettiest parts of town. Although this bridge that we cross under is an architectural icon in the city. I'm trying to think. I think that it's not the only one that's like it. I think they did Fire and the name. I like the place. LC's Ellington. But the Skyview Motel on 40 Highway suffered a little fire, and I think they're looking at it like it was set. It didn't burn the whole thing down, just one of the rooms. There's one in Independence called the Great Western Inn. I don't know if it's still open or not, but it had a much bigger fire a few years back. And then the Queen City Motel on 24 Highway in Independence. It had like a separate building. It burned. That one pretty much burnt down. The rest of the motel was still there, but I think now it's gone. I think they even went in and tore it down. And the sign is gone. I don't know where the sign went. I always loved that sign. But you know, a lot of these motels, I think like the Skyview Motel, they were talking about residents like they were permanent. You know, that's usually a weekly rate is like 300 something in a week or something. And if you think about that, that's like $900 to $1,000 a month for living in I mean, granted it's furnished, but you're living basically in a studio apartment, a tiny one. Not even a studio apartment. All you're really renting is a bedroom. Bedroom with attached bath, maybe a I moved up here to Kansas City. The Monterey Motel, and that was a pretty much and a separate kitchen. City area, locate a house. I can see my internet's connection has been jittery, dropping out. The other night I had I call it a 95% fail rate on it. And I had this idea that the U.S. government, I believe, should grade companies, because a lot of companies make a lot of money selling to and offering services to the United States government. Now, people can say what they want about socialism, but if it wasn't for the government, the federal government, a lot of companies would go bankrupt. They are that dependent on the government. But yeah, they don't provide decent services to people, to the government. So my idea is that the government should grade them like their students. Oops. service at the cruise. Kind of turned it off. Alright, here we are back at the speed limit. And like for instance, these companies down in Texas, these power companies, which are basically utilities, I would have given them an F- for their performance. And the grade, I think, should be weighted very heavily upon the services you provide in times of emergencies, a contingency situation. And the fail rate of these companies during the Texas crisis was pretty abysmal. Like, if you took a test and you didn't study for it and you just guessed at the test, you would probably make about a 20. And these companies down in Texas probably did worse than that. So it's like, not only did they fail, they worked at failing. And so the government should just give them their F- grade and say, well, because of that, we won't allow you to have any type of government contract, and you know, just go all the way down the line, a whole list of things. I mean, not things like, you know, sticking a gun in somebody's face and forcing them to give up their property or anything else like that. Not, you know, like that type of socialism. But I mean things that just like, hey, you know, we are your customer and we choose to go elsewhere. And, you know, you don't have to rely on us to, you don't have to listen to the government. You don't have to rely on them to be your business, but a lot of companies do. As a matter of fact, most companies do. Oh, and you know, and part of that is the federal government just be like, well, you know, we give a lot of tax breaks, but you have to earn those tax breaks, and by providing such crappy service, especially in a time of emergency, and trying to take advantage of people, you've lost every one of your tax breaks. And the government can give a list of criteria and how they come up with their grade that they give to companies. And I guarantee you, if a company gets a low grade from the federal government, people will kind of look at it and go, maybe I shouldn't do business with them either. You know, it's kind of like when you look up a company in the Better Business Bureau and find out that they get a pretty low grade from them. Or what's even better than that, you know, when you can do your research nowadays and you can find out all sorts of things about a company just by reading the Google comments or the Yelp comments. And it's probably a good indication that maybe you should. Back when we used to look for motels, like I remember we were in before, we were looking at all the hotels. This is Liberty Public Parks. It made me so bad that I was trying my best to ignore them. But yeah, we were in El Reno, Oklahoma, and we were looking up motel rooms. We were having a hard time finding a decent motel. And I was like, yeah, let's look these up. So we did a little, and the reviews were kind of iffy. But then we could see reason why I say there a motel on the east side of town and one on the west side of town, because we figured out really quick that it was owned by the same person. So and the way we figured that out was it had the exact same positive, glowing review. Oh, this place is great, it's wonderful. But they didn't bother to change anything. It was the same review, and I was like, yeah. And then we were reading the other reviews, and and it was rated at like 2 stars or something, 1.5 stars, which is pretty bad for a motel. We were like, yeah, we're not gonna look at that one. Finally, we found one, and it was highly rated, and it had been there forever. It was a family-owned thing. It was actually I think it was a Best Western. And we had kind of decided that we are Best Western people, because when we were using motels a lot, we were always staying in Best Westerns. Even got the Best Western rewards card, whatever. Best Western seem to be pretty consistent, and they have a lot of old motels that have been kept in good shape, and a lot of historic buildings. We like them. So yeah, there is sort of a review system in place. Google reviews, and I think too that workplaces should have reviews, and they do somewhat. Rate your employer. Because after all, if you go to work for somebody, you're making a big commitment. Possibly even moving to be closer to your work. If you get a job in another city, you're going to move there. But wouldn't it be nice to know if there was some sort of rating or grade on how they treat their employees? Wouldn't it be nice to know that if you go and make the move, and make the investment, the commitment, that you're not going to find yourself out of work in a week or a month because the boss is so hard to get along with that he's just like got a rotating door of employees coming in all the time, which I don't know why any workplace would allow that, because that is damn expensive. Or maybe it's not the boss, maybe the culture of the place you're going is toxic. I knew a woman when I was working at Channel 4. She, put in her 2 weeks, but it was down where she was from, her home state. And then she got down there, and I think it was sort of like she went in there, and they're like, "We're so sorry that we hired you, but we're laying everybody off." So she had to beg for her old job back, and the boss gave it to her, but he took everything from her. All her tenure was gone. So she had to go back to 2 weeks vacation instead of, I think the maximum was 4 weeks vacation. And basically had to start over, was at the very bottom of the tenure thing. So if they decided to lay people off, she would have been the first one out. Companies expect workers to present these brilliant resumes. Well, companies themselves should present these brilliant resumes too. Now I know there's economic times where beggars can't be choosers. Like right now, you know, because of the beer-fluenza epidemic, so many people being out of work. But that can easily flip. I remember the 1990s. I remember when McDonald's started offering benefits, even to employees that weren't working full-time. And they offered tuition matching and all sorts of things, vacation and everything. I was like, oh my God, I need to stop what I'm doing and work at McDonald's. Because at the time, I was working at a little cable station in Lawrence, and I went to go get something to eat at McDonald's, and it said they were hiring. And the first thing that caught my eye was that the beginning salary was more than what I was making at the cable station. I was like, when did this happen? And they were like, well, you know, because of they're offering benefits. Yeah, that was the other thing. The place where I was working. No, I was making about this. It was this, actually, I think it was close to the same as what I was making. But it offered full benefits, and I had none where I was working. I mean, what they called benefits weren't really benefits, as far as I was concerned. One of the benefits was you get free cable. It's like big whoop. My roommate loved it when I got free cable. Actually, for a long time they were like, you get free cable. And it was like, yeah, big whoop. I don't live in Lawrence, so I don't get free cable. Here's one of my benefits. But then I moved to Lawrence, and my roommate, the guy that owned the house I was living in, loved it. Oh my God. He got me free cable. He didn't love it enough to be a much more decent person. Another one along the list of, well, actually I have kind of a short list of crummy landlords / roommates. They have two quick trip signs at are there two quick trips up at this exit? Yeah, there are actually. There's one up here, there's one back, I think. Or no, one up here, then they might be counting the one. A great weekend. It was good to get out. We really enjoyed it. We were thinking we were going to go somewhere like Warrensburg or something, but instead we, you know, everything would be closed by the time we get there, you know. So we went to Lawrence. It's kind of like our old standby. We just had a lot of fun. And then on Sunday, you know, with the weather being so good, we ate out at a Mexican restaurant. We did our church thing. I did my live streaming. And then we shopped for the doggies because we know Jimmy was born in February. We know Stella was born in March. We were told how old they were when we got them. Both of them were like 8 months old. So we back counted it. Okay, so Stella's a March birthday, Jimmy's a February. And we're like, well, then we'll combine them and we'll make both dogs' birthday on the same day. We'll celebrate it March 1st. Well, we weren't ready for them on March 1st, but we did it on Sunday. It was fun. Got them little birthday hats, which they didn't really like. Went to Three Dogs Bakery and got them some birthday treats. And the doggies were parading around with their little birthday hats, and everybody was like, oh, cute. I don't think this thing, nobody's talking to me except me. I don't think this thing will tell me if somebody's actually, because I can live stream to multiple platforms. Right now this is on YouTube and Facebook. And it doesn't, I don't think it alerts me when I'm looking at one tab, if there's somebody on the other. I don't know. I haven't looked. I'll pay attention next time, maybe. Alright, you come out and you need to let me in. You won't come out. You're so non-cooperative, they would almost rather miss their exit than let somebody in. Oh my God, he's gonna be ahead of me. You know, the greatest analogy for these ramps is the departments of transportation have come up with this thing. They say, treat it like it's a zipper, like you're the teeth of a zipper. You let somebody in, then you can get off, or merge in, one in, take turns. Works wonderful, actually, if you try it. But I always love when you're driving and you have, apparently they give licenses out to 12-year-old kids. Because you'll be trying to pass somebody and you'll get right up next to them and all of a sudden they take off. They won't let you pass them because they don't want you in front of them, I guess. I don't care. I'm not racing them. But they treat it like, they're trying to win the NASCAR or something. All I care about is if you're going slow and I try and get around you, I like to get to where I have decent distance between me and the next car ahead of me. So if you're in front of me, just do the speed limit. I'll do the speed limit. But if you're going slower than the speed limit, and I come around you, I need to pass, don't then all of a sudden decide to speed up. Because then if I merge back in, then they're going to slow down again. It's almost like they're challenging you to erase them. Arrow?
Hi. How are you?
Alright.
Did you get my birthday card?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I was just checking.